Welcome to PDX Garden Home. We're back here at my driveway garden with what I've referred to as landscaping today. But specifically, I'm moving large planters to change the layout of this garden. And that's the first steps in reterracing this east side garden I have here. Also, I'm doing some seed organizing. So come along with me. Let's get gardening. I put these stock tanks in the east side garden last year so I could use the space without doing too much work on landscaping this area, because I knew I would re-terrace this hillside at some point. So now I'm emptying these stock tanks to set them up somewhere else in the garden. I'm doing the same with whiskey barrels that I had over here as well. I moved the stock tank planters from the east garden because I'm going to be digging around there to put in new retaining walls. Really, I'm removing everything from that area, pots, excess rocks, etc. But I wasn't sure where I was going to put all the stock tank planters because I have 5 of them, some with different sizes. After I finished the retaining wall around this cherry tree bed, I realized that the back row along the fence would be a good place to put the stock tanks. I tried it with one at first to get the overall feel for the look, and I liked it. So I decided to go for it and put 2 others here. So now I ended up with 3 stock tanks along the back fence line behind the cherry tree, and I think that works, because then I won't be trying to pile compost right up next to the fence in order to grow around there. I'm filling these planters with potting soil that I took from the other planters and pots previously. The potting soil here came originally from Grimm's Fuel last year, but I can tell that it's still great because it's got a lot of worms running around in it. So I think I'll be just fine for this year. I'll amend it with some organic fertilizer as well. I consider the months of November through January to be my infrastructure or landscaping months before I get started into a lot of seed starting. My intended projects for December 2025 through this January 26th season were retaining walls on what I call the cherry tree bed and retaining walls here in this east side garden area. I call it the east side because it's east of the driveway. But I got sidetracked. I built a new potting bench area, including laying down brick pavers, just because I had bricks and lumber to evacuate from the old garden before the sale of that property closed. So now I'm behind on these retaining walls that I want to build over here. I just wrapped up the cherry tree bed at the end of January, and I think that's looking fine. I consider just giving up on doing these walls over here in the east garden. Just how about postpone that until next year? get into my next landscaping season, maybe start November 2026, but I just can't stand it, so I'm moving forward. Now it's March. This probably means I'll be building while the garden season starts because I have to split my time between these walls, seed starting, transplanting, and all the main season garden activities. Let's hope I can get this done by, say, May. Just like my stock tanks, this gray planter has got to go. It's got to get out of the way for my reterracing project over here in the East Garden. So I'm emptying it out, and as you can see, I've got a bunch of bulbs in here. So I'm going to replant those somewhere and then get the soil out of this thing and then see how hard it is for me to carry this. Hopefully not too bad because it's fragile, I imagine. I don't want to drop it on the concrete anyway. Well, I was looking for a place to put this decorative pot, so I saw in my mind's eye that it might look good over here behind the cherry tree, or where the retaining wall kind of comes up against the fence, kind of putting an end point to that cherry tree bed. I think I like the way it looks here. What do you think?
East Side, beginning of February 2026. But I'm trying to move this wall so that it's along here, along the driveway, right up against the driveway forever. Any dirt that's there gets onto the driveway and then rolls down the hill into the garage. Seems unnecessary. I've emptied my many of my whiskey barrels and pots, big pots. I'll refill them and use them for growing later this year once I kind of get the rest of my infrastructure set up for the season. But I'm just kind of emptying them out so I can refresh it and kind of restart for the new season. I'm curious if you all do this, or if you just leave potting soil in your pots and just keep growing in the same potting mix. Maybe you add fertilizer or something year after year, because I've seen kind of mixed thoughts on this online or on garden articles that I follow, in terms of whether you really need to fully refresh your potting soil, or whether you can somehow revitalize it in place, so to speak. Quite the project I got going on here.
I used to keep my seeds in containers designed for photos. The containers work really well, and I still use them for transporting my seeds between planting sessions. But now I got this new cabinet that I like. Ideally the drawers would be deeper, but they're good enough for what I'm doing. I just fold over the packets, and having more drawers that are less deep allows me to split up varieties more.
Thanks for gardening with me today. Re-terracing this east side garden is going to be a lot of work, and we'll probably be doing more of this in future videos. So, I'll see you in the next video.